Hello, everybody. Just quick intros to everybody. I am Lou Gonzalez.
I'm Allan, the man without class.
I'm Connor. I have no catchphrase.
I'm John Seiler, and I also have no catchphrase.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my catchphrase.
No, your catchphrase is "I love you."
Oh, right. I do love you. I love you all.
So we're going to talk about some of the stuff we read
That's
this
the
week.
end coda for every single one.
Yes.
Every episode of this we've recorded.
Yeah. Gotta get that last minute stinger.
Yep. So, Alan, you're going to start us off with a new book that you just started that just came out as well, right?
It came out last week.
Yeah, please sell me on this.
Okay, so do any of you know who William Gibson is?
Yes, I'm very familiar with William Gibson.
After Aliens, as you guys know, there was a big break between Aliens and Alien 3.
Yeah, there was a couple years. About like 8 or 9.
No, like several.
Wasn't like 10 years?
It was...
Because Alien 2 came out in, what was it, 84?
Aliens came out in 86.
86?
So yeah, it was about like...
10 years.
Solid decade.
No, like Alien 3 came out in like 92, 93.
Yeah, it came out in
Hold on,
93.
I'm on it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it came out in
that's not
92.
bad. That's a few years.
So it was kind of stuck in like limbo for a bit because there were so many different drafts, different screenplays. William Gibson wrote one. Other people wrote some. I think I don't know if Dan O'Bannon and other guy who came up with the facehugger.
H.R. Geiger.
Geeker.
No.
Geeker.
Dan O'Bannon's.
Oh yeah, Dan O'Bannon. He came up with the facehugger because he wanted something that was just like rape, just like something really weird and
it was
abrasive.
It was his writing partner who, in the Alien 1 making of, says, "I know how the alien, like, who they were thinking of ways to get the alien on board the ship," and the guy, I'm blanking on his name, says, "The alien screws it." Yeah.
But I mean, so going back to like this comic that came out this week, like basically the William Gibson comic or the William Gibson script is kind of like the most famous script of like a possible Alien 3.
Have any of you read the script?
No, I've never even heard of this until today.
Yeah, same here. I've seen the movie several times.
Yeah.
Which has like the old black guy from Rudy.
Oh yeah, I never really put that together.
Yeah, those are the only two movies I remember him offhandedly in.
It also had
you beat me.
It had Paul McGann.
Yeah, I just remember everybody was pissed because like the opening basically of the movie is they're like, oh, remember those two characters you loved? Yeah, they're all dead.
Oh yeah,
So movie 2 is like moot.
Which is why I kind of like hate Alien 3 so much, because like I watched those movies for the first time maybe about like 7 years ago, and I like did like a big marathon of them, and like by the time I got to Alien 3, I was like so invested in like Newt and
Hicks
and Hicks, and
yeah,
like and Alien 3 is just basically like,
those characters.
Fuck them. We didn't want to pay them to be back. We also didn't want to pay for this big budget like Alien 3 movie. Like without even knowing any of the history of Alien 3, like watching Alien 3, I'm like, oh, this is basically just like they wanted to recoup their costs in any kind of way, so they put out like whatever bullshit they wanted to.
There was another famous screenplay that kind of part of it made it in a weird way. Instead of it being a prison or a jail, like being the Australia planet, it was actually going to be monks,
like Tibetan style monks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there were a whole fuck ton of different xenomorph concepts. Like there was a sheep.
Oh, because I think in the third one is that where the first time we get the dog?
Yeah.
Well, and like not only that, but like I remember as a kid, like all the Alien 3 toys, and there was like ostrich alien and rhino alien and snake alien.
Rhino alien is the one I remember. I had a bunch of them, but I had most of the stuff from 2.
Yeah,
I had the queen with the wings, which she didn't have in the movie.
They got a lot of the toys that John mentioned those ideas from the unmade screenplays. There's also a camouflage xenomorph.
Sick.
I think that's just called a predator, dog.
I was gonna say, you know what this reminds me of? Jurassic World. This reminds me of them making, what the hell do they call that thing in Jurassic World?
The Verizon presents the Indominus Rex.
Yes, that thing. Like, this is what these ideas remind me of.
Full title.
That is the name of that should be the name of something great.
The Indominus Rex or the Verizon
Wireless
presents.
The Verizon presents.
I mean, like that. Like going off topic, that's like the most genius thing about Jurassic World is that everyone's like, "Why is there so much product placement in this movie?" I'm like, "Do you think like a giant theme park with dinosaurs wouldn't have product placement all over it?"
Well, yeah, and I'm somebody
like it wouldn't cost an arm and a goddamn leg just to run.
It's funny that you said Verizon because literally the hockey basketball arena that's closest to me was named the Verizon Center until they were recently outbid, and now it is the Capital One Center.
Oh wow.
But it makes more sense, at least, because the team that plays there, one of them is the Capitals. So it kind of makes a little bit more sense now. But I'm sure everything's going to be renamed to Amazon this soon.
Yeah, that's why I don't buy stuff off of Amazon. At least it's like they're already making billions of dollars every year, but it's like, hey, at least they're not getting $50 from me.
I don't know. Prime is super convenient, so it's hard to argue with it. And this is like super off topic, but it's going to help this area because there's lots of like low income areas and there's going to be a lot of new jobs. But it is a little weird that there's going to be this giant.
I mean, like, yeah, like there's like its own conversation in itself, in that like Amazon also doesn't really pay its workers very well and overworks them, and also doesn't pay back in the community. But that's not this podcast.
No,
that's a different podcast.
You could say that about like Rockstar or like a million other companies too.
Yeah.
Also, no. Also, yes.
Yes. Also,
absolutely. That's why I'm not buying Rockstar games.
I don't know. I can't not play as a cowboy.
Alien 3.
Yeah, let's talk about comics, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Alien 3, they basically like had all these different scripts, and the one that they made was the one with David Fincher that came out in 1992. And so fast forward to today, Dark Horse is putting out this comic that's based off of like the script, one of the early scripts, one of the most well-known scripts, right?
Yeah.
So, as someone who hasn't read the new Alien comic, I guess it's like, at what, like, is the comic, so is it like completely different than the movie that we got, or they're like this, or does it have like the same kind of setups, or like what sets this differently?
Okay, there's the UPP, which if any of you laugh at that, you're instantly getting booted from this. This is serious.
I don't know what the UPP is.
We're talking about comics.
Kit.
I don't get the joke.
It was I forgot. It was some basketball player from like the early 2000s. He made a big deal. It was a meme. We're talking about practice.
Oh, Allen Iverson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I still don't get the joke. But so
yeah,
what is different in it?
Yeah, I'm not.
Like,
sorry.
is Newton? What's his name still alive?
Newton Hicks.
Yeah.
The issue actually ends with Marine. There's no smoking in here, and you see Hicks as he would have looked all those years ago, right after Aliens.
Okay, tight. Like with his face all fucked up from acid.
You see, yeah. Well, it's not on the level it was with Colonial Marines, the game.
Okay. Well, like I have the original Alien Dark Horse comics from like the 90s or like the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, the ones that had Hicks, or the ones
the ones that had Hicks, and it was like all about
right
the Alien 5 worlds, and
right before it was changed.
Yeah, right before like 3 came out. So like they had no concept of what was gonna happen next, so they were just bullshitting or like pissing in the wind with plot details. Like Hicks is still alive and Newt's alive and she falls in love with an android and that android doesn't know he's an android until like he gets fucked up by an alien and then they still fall in love but the android dies. It's really bizarre. It's a wild ride.
Yep, that does sound like a comic book.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, like getting back to it, like
Yeah.
so the premise of it, like the Alien 3 movie is basically like Sigourney
It's
Weaver falls onto like this prison planet full of rapists, and there's an alien, and they have to stop it. I guess it's like, what is the comic now about?
okay. So there's these. It's sort of like a Cold War
Yeah, that's what it says here in the
vibe.
description. Ultimate Cold War thriller.
Yeah, the Sulaco accent enters into the airspace, into the uh
The space.
Like
Like what would basically be airspace of what,
Of
like
Earth?
not
Of-
no, they were headed towards Gateway, which is the where they were on in the beginning of Aliens.
Okay.
okay.
But they make a navigational error and go through the United something people, United Peoples.
yeah,
Like,
basically like the holdup where like Whale and Utani is.
no, there's. Well, I'm not actually sure if Wayland Yutani is in it, because I remember
Like
well, the last time I read the script was around
We're
the
not
time.
we're not asking about the script. We're just asking about like the comic.
Okay, sorry. It's been. Lou knows I've had things have
Yeah.
been shitty for me lately.
It's fine.
There's a group of about 3 people on a ship that dock onto or that make it onto the Sulaco, and they're basically looking for anything they can find that they can sell.
Hmm.
Oh, so they're like salvagers?
Yeah, they're junkers. They find at first. I don't know if this was supposed to be funny. If this was an attempt by Johnny Christmas to, and that, yes, that's actually the name of the writer, Johnny Christmas.
Johnny Christmas.
He or the 3 people who shouldn't be there, because the ship is sort of it's heading towards the quote unquote good guys base or HQ.
Okay.
They find the hypersleep vault, and at first they see Bishop's lower half with his guts hanging out on the floor, and they open Bishop's hypersleep, whatever the hell it is.
The pods.
Yeah, his pod, and there's an alien egg in there.
In Bishops?
Yeah,
Okay.
and a facehugger. It's basically what happened to John Hurt in the first Alien.
Okay. But they don't explain how that egg got in there?
No.
There's just an egg there for some reason. Just plot.
Yeah. They leave. They leave the guy there to die, and they take Bishop, like his upper half, and the other guys go over how it had 15, or it had Marines, a representative of Wayland Yutani, a former warrant officer, and an android. When they do it, they quarantine the ship at first because they have sense, unlike Aliens, Colonial Marines, where they just go in guns blazing.
Well, that's cool. That's a smart move. That's a new move, I guess, in like the alien world. Thinking with your head.
Yeah, so they go for a clean and sweep, like and they find the pods for Ripley, Newt, and Hicks. They open up the pods, and Ripley fucking commando jumps onto one of them, and they have to trank her to keep her from assaulting them further, because it's like the only way I can summarize this is this is what Alien 3 should have been.
Okay, so they pop her out and she's in like a crazed frenzy.
She's in kick-ass mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do
because-
think it's interesting that they have Newt and Hicks alive because that's so much better. Like, I understand, like, you can't do anything really with the aliens with just like the alien part, continuing that story without Ripley. Like, those movies are her story, but they kind of set it up to be Hicks and Newt joining her as this little family, and then they just off them.
Yeah, you can really tell they some stuff got lost in translation, so to speak, between the movies.
Every Alien movie, or the first 4 Alien movies, are basically they're very equivalent to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where every season is basically a reboot.
Okay.
Yeah,
or a soft reboot.
Yeah,
I think
that's accurate. Although probably the amount of people that have seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is
very low.
Although it just got renewed again, which is interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was still on air, to be fair.
Yeah, I missed the last 2 seasons now, and I forget it exists. And I watched a lot of it and all the bad stuff.
All the bad stuff. Always the bad stuff.
The book sounds really interesting, Alan. And so this was the first issue came out last week. So is it a monthly book or is it like a bi-monthly book or?
It's a monthly book. Next issue is going to be out in about 2.5, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, and who's the publisher?
Dark Horse.
Okay, that's interesting because we'll get to it later. But like the book I read was also a Dark Horse book, like the one I want to talk about.
Yeah, I made a decision to not to read, at least make sure the books I read for this episode were not one of the big 2, or at least not DC, because I'm constantly pushing DC.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the same way. Well, one of the things I read is
when I joined the chat, I saw the story that John put in and cried a little bit.
Oh, I'm not sure which story that is.
Sideways.
Okay. John, do you want to talk about that real quick?
What, that Sideways got canceled? I don't read Sideways. I put that in here for you guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't read Sideways either. Like, it is an interesting. I only read that one issue we talked about last week.
This happens right as I
We're doing it again. We're going down the DC rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No, this happens right as I resubscribe to the book.
So you had the Kiss of Death?
Yeah, I guess so. I fell in love with OMAC and that got canceled after 8 issues.
Oh, that was a good book. But let's see, John or Connor, do you want to talk about one of the things you've read this week?
I actually did a lot of reading, and John is one of the bigger inspirations of it. I went out and I bought the first 2 volumes of Marvel's Runaway.
Ooh, that is a good book.
Yes,
The Vaughn run?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So is it the first run? Or is it this current run?
Yeah, the Vaughn run's the first run.
Okay,
run.
I did read that because that's when I was still reading Marvel. Was around that time.
Yeah. I read issues 1 through 18, so I did the whole first arc, I guess. The whole
like the first
Pride
volume. Okay.
Yeah. I did I read that.
Yeah, it was the first. The first series went to about 18 issues, and then it ended, and then they rebooted with a new number 1 that was still written by Brian K. Vaughan.
I'm trying to remember because the one character that wasn't originally on the team that I really liked was the Skrull. I can't remember their name.
Zavin?
Yeah, Zavin. Because I thought that his relation.
I don't think Zavin has shown up at the point that where
Connor is.
No, I'm
because
2005. That's the year it's taking place.
Because Zavin was a Volume 2 character.
Okay, yeah, Zavin showed up right before Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess this is leading into Civil War. That's crazy. Okay, I guess I have to read Civil War now.
So basically,
the first Civil War is so good.
Yeah, I've read some of the issues.
So if I remember right, you basically got to the end with the Geberum.
Yeah, no, that's done. Cut the ties. They got out. They broke away. They became the Runaways again. They're in a giant frog. Very entertaining.
Hell is for children.
Yeah, of course. It's super childish. I really enjoyed the series so far. I thought the whole twist with Alex being the whole mole for everybody was kind of Yeah, I saw that coming like a mile away.
Yeah, when it came
Um,
out though, that like wrecked people.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
believe, if I
Oh.
remember correctly, John. Right?
Oh yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, you have like this core team of original characters, and I mean, 17. I mean, this is like 17 issues when like this was like 17 months, that like a
Yeah.
bi-weekly book. So it's like you've like kind of like grown with these characters, and like seen like the different kind of relationships that started within them with like Nico and Alex, and then all of a sudden like it's like they're like super anti-stance about like not wanting to be like their parents, and then the big reveal that like, oh yeah, Alex has been playing this like the entire time, and it's just like it was just like holy shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that's true.
He's a great villain for the team though, because he's one of them, like age-wise as well as part of
Yeah.
them. But then he also knows them all so well. Like he's a great antagonist for their team.
He knows all their moves.
Yeah, and he's basically just like a super genius, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's like his whole thing. He's like a prodigy.
Yeah, well, Alex is like smart, but like he's not.
He's not Tony Stark smart, but he's like.
I think you're thinking of Chase, who is like the son of like scientists.
Yeah. No. I'm thinking of Alex. Alex is the black kid with the glasses.
He's the son of the mafia bosses.
Yeah.
Which, like, did you like that idea that like each of the parents was an archetype within like comics?
Oh, it was a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did any of you guys watch the Hulu show?
No.
I
They
watched
made a Hulu show?
Yeah.
I watched 6 episodes of it. I thought it was bad.
It's not for like 20 something year old. I think it's not quite the ABC Family Cloak and Dagger show, which is for like 12-year-old girls.
Boo!
That show's terrible. I did think Runaways had the problem is it's so had to build this world, but I thought the ideas like kind of translated really well, and I liked Spike as the one dad. It is just annoying because they're teenagers and they're just really annoying to watch
Like,
actual teenagers be teenagers.
Which is like the exact opposite of the comic, because it's a book about teenagers, and you're not annoyed by any of them. It's like, it's like, sure, like they make mistakes, and there's a lot of trials and tribulations because like they're teenagers, but at the same time, it's like you want to see these characters succeed. Like the Runaways TV show feels like a show written by old people who think like what teenagers talk like. And there's also like this really dumb forced like rape scene, or like a rape subplot in the show that's really fucking dumb.
Yeah,
and like
that was
also,
really bad.
And they also spend like half the show, or more than half the show, like trying to establish the adults of the series, and it's like I don't watch this show for the adult subplots at all.
To me, like I forgive that, because if you are not a comic book fan and you find that show, they kind of have to build the idea of like, why is this group together?
But they do it within like the comic. Like, and the comic and the comic is not like a bunch of like characters that have been established for like 50 years. Like they're all established within the show. So it's just like, it just feels like added padding to an hour-long show that doesn't need to be there. And I mean, like, and you guys know me, like I hate padding to a show like that. Like it just feels like such a slog.
I do have to say the best part of the show is Old Lace.
Old Lace is good in the show.
They actually did like a really good job in special effects with her.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
And it actually makes me mad. And if I ever see any other show try to do a real life size reptile and it doesn't look at least that good for how cheap the show looks in general, like the effects on that show are actually, I would say, pretty good. Like Old Lace's effects and is it Carolina Dean? Yeah, her effects are not bad either. But like what it is,
it's not bad.
The Chase's effects are pretty terrible.
Well, Chase is just like
He's got the goofiest cosplay like gauntlets on ever. But his dad is Spike, so from Buffy.
Oh.
There's a lot
actually.
Yeah, his dad is Buffy. Are you talking about the picture of Old Lace?
Well, no, I'm trying to find that picture of Old Lace.
Yeah. His dad is Buffy, and then the other character at the end is what's his name that played Doctor Doom in the 2 Fantastic Four movies, the earlier, better ones.
The guy from Nip Tuck.
Yeah, I like him as an actor, and I like him as a villain because he's.
This guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy from what?
Charmed.
Yes, the guy from Charmed. Yeah, he's really good at being like a slimy, like businessy, like charming, but like he's gonna stab you in the back and then take your girl.
Um,
But it's okay. But
uh,
that book is amazing and was it was so big at the time, and it's still pretty big, like a book for Marvel, isn't it?
I mean, the Rainbow Rowell Runaways book that's currently going on is very, very good. So, like, hopefully that book stays around for quite a while.
Yeah, I do have to say that's like the one area of the big two that I think Marvel has done better with over the last decade is like tying back to Sideways. I feel like they write younger characters way better at Marvel, like overall.
Because they have like people who are writing for like young characters who are also like have their finger on the pulse of young
Yeah.
writing.
I also feel like they have to because of they get so much of the younger movie audience that wants to go and check out the comics. They need to be on top of it more.
I mean, here's the thing: DC could easily have like Teen Titans as their number one book at their company if they wanted to, but unfortunately, it's like they kept on like doing a bunch of teams that were so completely different than any of the TV shows that like you could have got people involved with, and like the times those characters do show up, they're just so astronomically different than like kind of just the bare inklings of the show that's like, why would anyone want to ever read these?
The problem is also like the big thing they have in other media is Teen Titans Go. So
not even Teen Titans Go. Like when Teen Titans was going on.
Oh, yeah, but that was like a decade ago at this point, right?
But well, sure, but it's like they like okay. So after the Jeff Johns run ended, like Sean McKeever wrote a couple things, and then JT Kroll took over, and that book sucks. And then they rebooted in the New 52 with this really awful, shitty Teen Titans book.
Oh,
and
that book was garbage.
And then they like
Lobdell?
Yeah, and then they took Starfire and they put her in Red Hood and the Outlaws, and she was just awful. Like any person who liked the Teen Titans, like they're not gonna read Red Hood and the Outlaws because that book like basically like took Starfire and made her so completely different than any kind of inclination she was before. And so it's just like it's like you're serving like this really old audience of like dudes, and it's like Teen Titans should be like honestly like as big as like X-Men. But it's not because DC, like, look at Teen Titans currently. It's written by Adam Glass, who's 50 years old.
Yeah, we talked about this. Like there's two Teen Titan books. They're both garbage. But like, look at all the Marvel characters. The younger characters are great. Like Ms. Marvel, Miles Morales, the younger X-Men books.
Or like, Kieran Gillen's Young Avengers, or Kieran Gillen's Journey into Mystery, or the Kyle and Yas X-Men. It's just like they write good like young adult fiction, and they put those people on like good young characters, and those characters like totally succeeded.
And they're also translating that. And I've only seen like 1.5 episodes of the Disney DX show with all the young heroes.
Marvel Rising.
Like I saw the initial one that they released, and I saw half of them as Marvel one. But that is still like if they're taking all these younger characters that their comics are good, and then they're bringing them to the cartoon world with a great voice cast, and that's a great way for them to cross over.
Yeah,
and to pull in a better audience. Like the only toys I see like in stores that are like have like a big shelf presence are the toys from that show. Like the other ones are kind of like off into the side and like next to a whole bunch of other garbage.
Yeah. So Connor, do you have volume 2 of Runaways, or are you
I genuinely just bought that like today. I can buy comics faster than I can wait for in-stock trades to come through the mail. It's laughable at this point.
So like you could continue reading Runaways after volume 2. I mean, there are like people who like the Joss Whedon run, which is the volume 3.
Okay.
I would suggest probably skipping volumes 3, 4, and 5 because 3 I don't think is great. 4 like I don't remember anything that happens in that book. It's probably one of Terry Moore's worst books, honestly. And then volume 5 is pretty good, but like it ends on a cliffhanger that like is never addressed.
Oh, the
Oh,
Force.
really? Oh.
Because volume 4 is like where the book like just kind of ends and like it's like never kind of brought up again. And so like after volume 4, like they kind of split the team. Like Nico and Chase were put on Avengers Arena, which was a super cool book. That was the Hunger Games Battle Royale Avengers kids book.
Oh, that was the book that they
That
straight
sounds
up ripped
pretty
off Battle
cool.
Royale, right? Even
Well,
with like the cover art, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that book is rad. By the way,
I'm not saying it's not rad, but like they straight up like it was not even hidden that it was a rip off of that.
well, I mean, like all the covers were like ripoffs of like popular culture. So like
Mhm.
issue 1 was Battle Royale, and issue 2 was Lord of the Flies, and issue 3 was Hunger Games. So it was like even Arcade, like the basis of Avengers Arena is that Arcade kidnaps 16 different young heroes and puts them in a murder world, and they ask him like why he's doing this, and he's like, oh, like I just like got an idea from a book I read when I was in prison.
Well, it's Secret Wars, but with teenagers.
Yeah, and the characters that they get like are pretty cool because they're all like, you know, either like characters like at best are like kind of known because they were in the Runaways, or they were like secondary characters in like previous Avengers books, or like
young Avengers.
Yeah, or like Cammy, who was like part of Annihilation.
I don't
But
even
like
remember that character. Who's
she
Cammy?
was like Cammy was like that girl that was hanging out with Drax.
Oh, the little blonde girl.
Yeah, and
Okay,
then
I
Justin,
remember that.
and or like Justin Seifert, who was the boy who rebuilt Sentinel, and that was basically Marvel Comics doing the Iron Giant.
That's I
hilarious.
fucking love that.
Which you just reminded me. If you like space operas, read Annihilation. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah, the book?
Yes, the
Yeah.
that's basically where they rebooted and where we get the Guardians of the Galaxy that exists.
Oh,
sort of the movie version.
Oh, I thought we were talking about like the actual book.
Oh,
Annihilation.
No. I mean the Marvel Annihilation, and then what was the second one? Was it Annihilation Conquest?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically what the first one is. It's Annihilus declares war on like all of space, and basically it's like the uniting of all the different space things to stop Annihilus.
Okay, yeah, I can see right here. You can buy the.
Because that's
I
where
can
we
just read it for free if I get Comixology.
Yeah, because that's where we get like the Drax that's in the movies. Because before that, Drax was like this really goofy, look like Hulk in like a purple cape and skull cap.
Okay.
And there was like basically they rebooted all the characters. That's where you get all the looks, and we got like Groot kind of the way he is, and Rocket on that. That's where we get this team that's in the movies.
Yeah, you can kind of see like the original Star-Lord design in the.
Yeah. But they team up with there's like a bunch of other characters because Marvel's daughter, which I can't remember her name, is like Fela Vale. Yeah, she's in it because she's Quasar at the time. And then was it Moondragon, who is her girlfriend, who's also Drax's daughter, is in it. And Adam Strange, and I'm trying to remember who else are the big players in that. Or is it Ronan?
I mean, well, like, yeah, like
all the it's like all like everyone in space.
Gladiator and like that fucking shitty Third Summers brother we don't talk about, and
oh yeah, I don't remember his name. Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
he's the worst. And then this is also where we get, which I think is the best way, and could be the way that they end up telling Nova in the movies, where all of Nova Corp is killed, and there's only one remaining Nova, and that's Richard Rider. Which leads into, I can't remember what the kid's name is later on that they make a couple of years later. Who's the kid Nova?
Justin?
I don't remember. It was well after I stopped reading, but he's also like a big kid, like young character.
Like, God, what? Sam Alexander.
Yes, that was his name. Yes,
and and like some of that stuff like ain't bad. Like, I mean, like, I'm not a big Nova guy, like, but he like showed up in like some issues of like other things I was reading, like
well, he was like before this, he was like part of the New Warriors, which they tie in eventually, where he comes back to Earth and he's like, "What the fuck did my friends do?" Because they're the reason why Civil War happened.
Yeah.
But there are some great scenes because that happened. So simultaneously during Civil War was this Annihilation event. So Marvel had two separate events happening at the same time, and one is a giant space opera, and one is all the shit on Earth. And then when
That's pretty cool.
yeah, and there's like there's like 1 or 2 issues where there's crossover because I think Iron Man or someone goes to space, like talk to Nova, and Nova's basically like, "What are you guys doing? You guys are idiots. Like, do you realize what's happening out here? And if we lose, like, it doesn't matter what you pity fools are doing on Earth." It was those were good books. John, what was this thing you just sent over? Because this looks goddamn crazy.
Yeah, I really wanted to pivot
Like
to that.
it really distracted the crap out of me because I'm like, I see all the characters I really love.
There's like everybody. Wait, why is Wolverine wearing a cowboy hat?
Why is Captain America riding Pegasus?
No,
So, like,
wait, what?
Okay, so basically, like, I wanted to
Holy
talk about
shit.
like different comic book news like that came out this week. Like after I talked about the comic I did or wanted to talk about, but basically, Marvel announced like their next kind of big event that'll be going on next year called the War of Realms. It's pretty cool because it's going to be written by Jason Aaron, art by Russell Donnerman, colors by Matthew Wilson. So it's basically like the exact same team as Jane Foster Thor that's going to be doing like a big ol' event. And like that Jane Foster Thor run is super good. But basically like Marvel's like touting this is going to be like, yo, this is the biggest event we have done since like Secret Wars, which is like pretty like audacious to say because I mean Secret Wars I think is probably like one of the biggest events they've ever done, like on a scale wise.
Ew, yeah, it was crazy. It got me into comics.
But like the art that they have for like this War of Realms, like one shot piece, it looks super good. Basically it has that sweet Russell Donnerman art. Like you got Cosmic Daredevil wielding a sword.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, what's up with Daredevil?
You have like Captain America riding a Pegasus.
Thor has 2 goddamn hammers.
Thor has Mjolnir and like that gold
is that the
hammer.
Ultimate one or is that a different one?
No, it's not. But like Valkyrie and Freya and Ironheart and Danny Rand is on there.
Yeah, there's Blade. I see Spider-Man, Venom. There's like 3 characters I don't know. There's like a woman on the right with a sword.
That's Freya.
No, there's like 2 behind her. Actually, the 2 behind her. There's one with an axe and then one with a sword behind her. Is that Jane Foster?
No. I actually don't know who these 2 are.
And then because it's an Iron Fist, what's her name from Black Panther's book?
Yep.
And then what do you call it? The Invisible Woman.
Woman.
And on the left, there's like a dude by Punisher. I have no idea who that is. I thought it was Captain Britain at first, but I think they have a cape.
That could be Sif.
Like all the way in the background there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I know they have the new Ghost Rider, and we have a hulked out She-Hulk, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's
looking.
Crazy.
Yeah, because She-Hulk is in the current Avengers book. She-Hulk and Thor are dating.
Oh,
dang.
She-Hulk is like, at some points in Marvel history, is like very problematic of how they treated her.
Like once, usually like that one time is like where she had sex with the Juggernaut, which was like a big, huge like fucking.
Wait,
yes, and the way they retconned it is the dumbest thing ever. I don't know if you remember.
Okay, so Chuck Austin wrote like something where She-Hulk was like the client to Juggernaut for some case, and She-Hulk and the Juggernaut have sex, which is just a huge fucking faux pas because if you're a lawyer, you don't sleep with your client, and it's super unethical.
I think it was Juggernaut. It was something. It wasn't her book. It was another an X-Men book.
It was an X-Men book because it was a Chuck Austin story. And Dan Slott, who has like this really amazing run on She-Hulk, by the way,
it was really good.
Yeah. He basically like wrote it off as something like, "Oh yeah, Juggernaut's talking to his asshole. He doesn't know what he's talking about."
Oh, that's okay. They actually went further than that because it went into the point where Tony depowered her at some point, and she could only change from this like thing on her wrist that she could like hit, and it would like allow her to like gamma herself. And everybody from the book would be like, "I can't believe you slept with Juggernaut," and she'd be like super pissed. And then the final reveal is that some other Jennifer Walters from another universe got stuck into this universe, and she's the one that hooked up with Juggernaut. And
That's
then
really
What?
yes,
I don't remember it that way.
yes. And what ends up happening is, in order to both retcon the sleeping with Juggernaut and her powers being removed by Iron Man, they switch places, and the 616 Jennifer Walters goes to the other one's Earth, and then this one stays. And then she's back to being normal She-Hulk.
What?
Yes, because
What?
nothing. Yes,
That's so needlessly complicated for nothing.
and this is also around the same time where she was the lawyer for Star Fox, Thanos' brother.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's Star Fox. Okay,
Yes.
I know
yeah.
him.
Yeah, the fucking
the guy whose
like,
power is
almost-
to date rape people.
yeah.
Yeah, he's just charm. That's all he's got.
Yeah, his superpower is roofie.
Yeah, yeah, it's just drug.
Can't let you do that, Star Fox.
To be fair, like Thanos' superpower is just kill. He's just really good at murder.
Oh, he's like basically indestructible. He's like they're gods.
Yeah.
But it's like, why would you write a character who has a power like that?
Because it was the 60s or
Yeah.
70s.
And he's a good guy. That's
Yeah,
the,
he's a hero. He's an Avenger.
No, fuck right. He's a damn.
Yeah. Oh my
and he
God.
also just looks like a giant creeper.
He's got like
Yeah.
a skin tight red and white costume, and then he has like weird sort of Wolverine hair.
I've only seen him in one thing. I read the Thanos.
Oh, they don't use him.
Kills.
Yeah, they don't use him ever.
Yeah, I
Because
saw
why-
the Thanos
because
wins
where-
universe.
Like, where would you put him? Like, how would you use him
Nowhere.
in a story? Yeah, it's bad times.
I don't like the sound of it.
But yeah, War Realms comes out next year. It looks pretty cool. Like, it's the same team as the Jane Foster Thor, so it's like it's gonna look beautiful. It's gonna be pretty epic, and it's gonna be great.
It looks gorgeous. I'm gonna read all of this.
I wonder who's gonna look better, or whose art is gonna look better. Ribick's work in Secret Wars, or Dodderman's work in this.
I mean, here's the thing: you got Assad Ribic. It's like you got Russell Dodderman and Assad Ribic doing like Thor stories within like now like Jason Aaron's 6-year run on the book currently. Like you have like that awesome God Butcher shit like at the very beginning of the arc, and then you have Russell Dodderman doing like all of that like sweet Jane Foster Thor stuff.
Dude, God Butcher's so goddamn metal.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So
Yeah,
I want to talk about
and-
how
and
cool it
Russell-
was.
Do you want me to talk about the comics I read from last week, or do we want to just like do a huge block of like comic book news for the week? Hello?
Oh,
Oh
What-
no! Oh no!
oh no!
Okay,
I'll
I'm
give
in
it
charge.
All right, Alan stepped in.
No,
I mean, is it-
Yeah,
Is
can
it
you
still
say that
recording?
again? Yeah, well, I mean,
Um,
Craig's here.
I mean, like, do we want to do other news from the week, or do you want me to just because I want to talk about a few like comic book news that happened for the week, but I also haven't talked about the books I've read for the week. So
Yeah, jump into what you've read for the week, because we all kind of talked about what we've been up to. So
Well,
let's see what you got.
I didn't get a chance to talk about Firefly.
I actually, you know what? I just because of that, I went out and I bought right now the Alien 3 book and Firefly. So if you want to hold off and talk about Firefly next week, I can talk about that with you.
Okay.
okay, so a couple of books I read for this week. I read issue 5 of Nancy Drew, which is from Dynamite. I'm still really liking it because it's done by Kelly Thompson, who I'll like just kind of try like anything she writes, at least
Okay.
for an issue, because I think that she's just like so good. And Jessa St. Onge is doing the art, and she did Bingo Love, which was a really cool book that came out earlier this year. But yeah, this was like the end of an arc. Basically, the story has been that a bunch of women have been wound up being found dead in this cave. So Nancy Drew ends up coming back to the town she grew up in to kind of solve this murder case, and she's been teaming up with the Hardy Boys to basically like try and figure out like this murder mystery. And everything kind of culminated at the very end of it, where everything was solved. But it looks like the book is going on hiatus for a little bit. But definitely it's going to have an issue 6. I think it's been pretty fun. Like it's like just kind of like over the cusp of being like, you know, a book that's good for teenagers, but like not like too kiddie. Like I think it like kind of straddles that line like pretty easily. But yeah, the art's super charming and good. And there should be a trade out for it like pretty soon, I think. Dynamite trades end up being like pretty expensive, I think. Like usually a softcover is $20, which
Oh
I guess
wow.
which I guess is like the same price as if you buy all the issues individually, but the idea is like, I don't know, to me, is that if you buy a trade, it should be cheaper than the individual issues. But I think Nancy Drew is still like a really fun series. If you want like really good teenage mystery shit, like that book is fun.
Yeah, I just looked it up. The art is really nice. I'm really
Yeah.
enjoying it.
Jen St. Ange also did some Gem and the Holograms, I believe, and
Ooh.
for IDW along with Kelly Thompson. So yeah, like she has like a lot of art out there. Like I follow her on Twitter. I think she's like a really cool artist that should be pretty big in the next couple of years.
Okay. I can see why. Like it's so dynamic. Her art really stands out amongst everything else.
Yeah, so I also read issue 2 of the Umbrella Academy, Hotel Oblivion, of a part 2 of a 7-part series. I talked about how in the first issue I kind of wasn't really sure what was kind of going on because it felt like, it's been like I want to say like 8-9 years since Dallas, which was volume 2 of the series. So like they drop you into Hotel Oblivion, and it feels like characters have like progressed at the from where they were in Dallas, but you're not really filled in like where people are kind of currently at, and so it reads like a little like you're lost in the woods kind of. But issue 2, which is called A Miniature War in a Miniature Home, kind of like things are like starting to kind of be put together. Like Seance is like doing some shit, like working as like this guy who's like talking to spirits, but he's like addicted to drugs, so he's just like total fucking burnout. The Rumor is like doing some stuff with like building like this miniature house, and like you get some backstory into like her relationship with like her former husband, and it's really sad. Like it's so good though.
Mhm.
Like it's like I'm starting to like finally just kind of settle in with everyone, and I just like realize how much I miss like number 5 and the Rumor and Spaceman and Seance. So it's like really cool to just like read these characters again. And it's got that sweet like Gabriel Ba art. So it's it's like it's getting back into it. Like and it doesn't feel like I'm like things are happening, but I'm super confused. Like I'm reading stuff and I'm slowly discovering like what's happening.
Okay.
Which I
It
think is
feels
like
kind of cool because you're like piecing together a mystery.
yeah, which I think is like on the flip side. I also read Uncanny X-Men #1, which was an $8 book, but it also has like a ton of stuff into it. But this is basically issue 1, disassembled, a 12-part weekly X-Men event that's supposed to kind of like put the X-Men like back into everything. But the problem is like so you have like this X-Men event or like this lead up event up to it that hasn't finished yet, which I assume the big twist in that series is that the time displaced X-Men like go back to where they were where they started, because they don't show up in this series.
Okay.
So
you're kind of inferring spoilers now.
Well,
Not
yeah,
that it's a bad thing or anything. I'm just saying
it's
like
spoilers. It's a
because of
spoil. Yeah, because basically this is part 1 after that, but we haven't
Okay.
got the end of like that other series. So it's just like I'm like, well, like these characters haven't showed up, so I assume that was the big reveal at the end of it. The big thing with this, it's written by Ed Brinson, Matthew Rosenberg, and Kelly Thompson. Ed Brinson's been doing a bunch of X-Men stuff. Matthew Rosenberg's been doing a bunch of X-Men stuff, and Kelly Thompson, I think, has been doing, the best of the X-Men stuff with Mr. and Mrs. X and Rogue and Gambit. Muhammad Assar did the most of the first issue, which is great. Muhammad Assar is super good. But like, there's like a page, like I talked to my comic book guy about this today, where they have like this one page of like the members. So it's like, here are all the, like, and if you read Civil War or if you read any like big event, there's that page that's basically like the roster of characters you'll see for the issue.
Yeah.
Character select screen.
Which is like fine. It's fine. But here's the thing, like I have like a big problem with is like, even though like I'm reading like X-Men, like I haven't been reading everything. So I kind of don't know what the status of like kind of everything is. Like I read Multiple Man, but like I'm reading like Uncanny X-Men #1, and the end of the Multiple Man series that ended 2 months ago is kind of different from the book I'm reading now. So like I don't know like kind of what's going on with Multiple Man.
Well, that's the problem with continuities that you have in these big, for the big companies, is like when you have characters that kind of cross between different books. Because like the easiest thing to organize is like Spider-Man and Wolverine, because they are in always like 8 books. How are they all over these places?
But like the guy who's writing, like one of the co-writers of this book, wrote that Multiple Man story. So it's not even like he's like in, like he's like not even in the office. Like they're all writing together. So it's like, I think like this could all be fixed if there was just like a page one of like previously on X-Men, and it's
usually
like
Marvel does that better because that's the whole, R.I.P. Stan Lee, like his thing. Everybody's book is their first comic. Usually Marvel tends to do like a recap always.
Events don't. Like the events will try to explain what's happening in the first issue through dialogue dumps from the characters, and it's like, why'd you just do an info dump at the first page of the book that basically is like, previously on X-Men, if you haven't been reading this bullshit for about 3 weeks or 3 years now, it's like the time displays X-Men are now out of the picture. This other shit is happening right now. Hey, this other thing is about to happen right now, and now we're gonna get into it. Because like right now, like I'm reading, I picked up the second issue because like I kind of want to see where it goes because I like X-Men. But if I was like someone who didn't know a whole lot about X-Men and heard about like this big like push to bring X-Men back into the forefront, and this is my first like kind of getting back into X-Men, like I would have no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this before or after Cable dies?
This is after.
Wait, Cable's dead? You
So-
just broke my 90s childhood heart.
Time means nothing in the Marvel universe. Cable is dead and alive all at
So
My broken heart is in a pouch somewhere.
It's in
What-
Pouch Man?
What was the name of that comic?
Extermination?
Yeah, so the series I was talking about the time displaced X-Men is Extermination. And basically, the time displaced X-Men are like still hanging around. Like Beast is like, yo dog, like these time displaced X-Men have been here for an awful long time. We should probably put them back to where we found them, because at some point, like some stuff is gonna get really messed up.
Yeah, because
And
they're
we're not-
like way into the future, and unless you mind wipe them, they're gonna have memories of future
Sure.
stuff.
Exactly. So like what ended up happening was that there's this guy riding around, kills Cable, and you end up finding out that it's like young Cable.
Oh, is it
And-
X-Man? Is it him
No,
as X?
No, it's literally Cable, but younger.
Yeah, well, Cable ran around at some point, a younger version, as his X-Men name was X-Man.
I'm not talking about like Nate Gray.
Yeah, okay, so
I'm-
it is literally the same Cable.
I'm literally talking about Nathan Christopher Ascani Dayspring Summers as a young boy killing older Nathan Christopher Ascani Dayspring Summers.
So it's Looper.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Also, Ahab is running around.
Holy shit, that's a character name I haven't heard in 2
And
decades.
yeah, Ahab and his hounds are like in current day and fucking shit up. But basically, the last issue of that series is not out, but Uncanny X-Men, which is happening after that, the first issue of that is out.
Oh
So
my God.
honestly, like whatever happens at the end of that book could probably totally explain like what is happening in this book. But
it's the same problem they both have because I can't remember. I think they're saying Doomsday Clock is like 5 years in the future of the current DC continuity.
God, by the time
dumbest shit ever.
Because by the time the Doomsday Clock ends, it'll be 5 years in the future.
Oh my god, you're not lying and not even exaggerating.
I was like half joking when they said that Doomsday Clock was going to be 13 issues, and I was like, dude, that book ain't ending till 2020. And I'm like,
you might have undershot it.
I like that book. I was like issue 8 of that book ain't out, and I'm like, man, there's like a good chance that book ain't actually ending till 2020.
We only got 2 more. We only got like a month and a half left of 2018, and I don't think they haven't had an issue in November yet. So,
no,
well, we'll see.
But yeah, that's basically what I've read for the week.
All right. I will talk about quickly. So I read a not DC book.
Congrats! I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, one that is half DC. So I'm dropping the picture.
Oh, you were so close.
Well, one is like it's a crossover between 2 companies, but that'll be the second one. So the first one I read is A Study in Emerald. So this is a Dark Horse book. So it is a comic adaptation of a Neil Gaiman short story that was part of like an anthology book, which I am probably going to buy, with the art by Raphael Albuquerque.
Oh, it's that book. Oh,
yes. So it is the Sherlock Holmes. So the book of short stories, they all are in the same setting. They don't necessarily connect to each other. So it is a world in which Sherlock Holmes is in a like Cthulhu-esque world where the ancient ones have taken over.
You've just sold me. You just sold me on this book so hard.
It's like 20-something pages.
Oh.
So the short story is written so I'm going to sell you on this even harder, in a newspaper format.
Oh, come on, dude.
With advertising for other characters in the world, like Victor Frankenstein, Spring-Heeled Jack, Dr. Jekyll, kind of similar Victorian era stuff. So, and that all also appears in the comic. The art, like Raphael Albuquerque is one of the few artists, like, because I'm not a huge art guy, but his art is amazing. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'll drop like an image or 2 in here.
Yeah, Paul, show me some of this.
Yeah, I love Sherlock Holmes. Like, it's one of the reasons why I love Batman, because Batman's
he's just a modern Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
He's the world's greatest detective.
So
that's his tagline.
So my thing with like Neil Gaiman, and like there's like a couple Neil Gaiman books I own, like How to Talk to Girls at Parties and a couple other things.
Isn't that getting? I think that's getting made into a TV show.
It got made into a movie, and it looks bad.
Okay, because I heard that was getting turned into something for Showtime or HBO. Maybe it's that movie.
Is this book like my thing with like Neil Gaiman? Sometimes it's like a little too dense.
No, like, it's only like 20 pages because it was a short story. So they took his short story and then changed it into a comic.
Yeah. So was How to Talk to Girls at Parties, and like that book is like kind of just like heady at times. Like I'm just asking, is this book like maybe like a little bit more straightforward, or is it like
it's very straightforward. There are some like M. Night Shyamalan style twists which are interesting. So there was a Sherlock Holmes book or story called A Study in
Pink.
No, it was a study. Was it in Violet? Or no, A Study in Scarlet. So it's a twist on that. So it is a murder mystery of like I think an Austrian royal. And besides like this one image I sent you, so that's like the first or second page of the book.
It's like $18 for 20 pages. That seems...
Yeah, it's expensive, but it's gorgeous.
Where'd you purchase it?
Oh man, I looked up. I looked it up, and the very second thing was a board game.
Yes, they made this a board game.
Okay.
It's super out of print though.
How out of print? Like
someone's asking for $200 for it on Amazon.
Yes. I think I grabbed it off of one of the apps. I don't remember. I had some like early Christmassy money. So I picked it. I like downloaded it. But
You
it is really good.
should have gotten that on Inside Trades.
Yeah, I know. I saw. So I actually originally heard about it from Eric
Yeah.
from Phantom Zone and stuff. He posted about it. I might actually end up buying a hard copy because it is gorgeous. But I am actually looking to get the novel where like it has the what do you call it, the anthology book, because this intro into this world is so amazing that I'm just like I just want to read more of this because it's Sherlock Holmes with that Cthulhu like
Yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft kind of, but in like so it's a Victorian London, but there's like a whole like I can't like there's so much I want to just explain, but it'll ruin the book.
Yeah, no, please be a little bit vague
Yes.
because I will definitely.
I can't even
look
say
this up.
anything more, but like it is gorgeous. The writing is awesome. The case is really interesting, and as you get into this world, like when it ends, you're just like, no, this should not be a short story. This should be a series.
Yeah, you kind of broke my heart when you said it was a short story.
Yes, but that's why I'm saying it's a short
love this.
story amongst a collection of short stories, all
Yeah.
covering this world.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, it's
I
Neil
will-
Gaiman, so that is, but
Yeah.
like it's one of those things where I'm like, I could talk about this for an hour, but it would be talking about like and ruining the entire story because there is like it's a murder mystery, so there are some awesome twists, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh man, like I didn't see that coming, and there's like a huge twist in the end, which you're just like, I want this to be like a huge book, like I want like 50 issues of this. And then the second book I read, I'm going to drop a picture in here real quick, was just, I don't even know why I decided to start reading this, but it was just so nostalgic. So DC teamed up with Image and made Batman and the Max Arkham Dreams. And
Yeah,
it is,
I don't know who the Max is. I'm sorry.
so the Max is one of the original Image characters.
Okay.
They made an MTV cartoon way back in the day.
Yeah, when MTV like started getting into like animated shit, like they got the Max, they had the Head, they
Neon
had Beavis and
Genesis,
Butthead. You're thinking of
And then-
Aeon Flux.
Aeon Flux. That's what I was thinking of. Yes, yeah.
But yeah, like dude, like early '90s MTV animation is just so good.
It was super bonkers, like crazy. Like here's another image from one of the books. So the Max is
Oh wow.
Is this written and drawn by Sam Keith?
yes.
Cool.
Like the art is 100% the Max art, and it is crazy. Oh, I guess it's IDW now, but he was originally a Image character, the Max, right? But basically the Max was like, I'm gonna try to explain this the best I can. It's gonna sound insane. So he is a homeless man that is then empowered by a woman when she attacks him when he tries to help her, and a lampshade falls on his head, which is why his face looks like that, because it's actually a lampshade. And then he is coated in this purple outfit, and he battles in the outback, which is like a dreamscape world where the woman who attacked him is a goddess because she created this world. And now some doctor, and basically the story is basically Batman finds this guy in this costume running around Gotham, brings him to Arkham. A doctor there who's not who must be one of the Max characters, straps him in, then attacks Batman and puts him into it. So they're trapped in the outback, and then he starts taking Arkham patients, like the Penguin, and inserting them into the outback as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that idea. It's
It
sounds
is
like a fun little mix of
super
worlds.
trippy with like that weird 90s art of the time. Like it is so weird, but it's very nostalgic for like a time period when like I wasn't reading comics, but like I grew up on the cartoons and stuff from MTV.
Mhm.
And it is, I don't know how to explain it besides like it is a fever dream. And it's very weird to see like Batman in it, because basically you have an outback if you're like super damaged. So like a part of the book is Batman trying to figure out if he is the one, like if it is his outback because he is so broken. It's so weird. And then of course the Joker shows up in the
Yeah, of
second
course.
issue. So they have had, I think, 3 issues. But it is super weird and crazy. I'm trying to find a picture of the Joker in this book because he looks awesome.
Yeah, because Sam Keith has like a long face Joker, like in the tuft of hair that goes like a little bit far out.
Yeah, I think I got the one from this book.
Like long nose, long chin. Yep, there we go.
Oh
There
yeah,
he
that's a
is.
pretty iconic Batman or a pretty iconic Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he has the long ear Batman, which is like very different.
It's very thin, long ear, big head, big round head.
Looks
Yeah, and
more
there's
oval
like a
shape.
ton of alternate covers and stuff like that. I'm gonna grab one more image because this is what the Max looks like in the first issue when we first interact with
Why
it.
does Joker look like a zombie?
Because it's the art.
yeah, that's the same Keith's Joker.
Yeah, it's so
I
weird.
love the look of this.
It's
I just
so
love the
weird.
weird like pop, like a weird Sunday afternoon paper cartoon.
Yeah, it's
I love-
like it's hard to describe, but it's so different and kooky.
It's like Ren and Stimpy to a degree. Just that art style, that weird like surrealism.
A little bit.
It's very of the time, and it's interesting to see his art in 2018, and he hasn't changed his styling that much, but like it looks still so
God,
it's so different.
just the colors like reflecting on the faces it's gorgeous looking. This is art I wish I could just like take the words off of and put on a painting somewhere.
Yeah, and
He did a series last year with John Layman called Eleanor and the Egret that I heard like really good things about.
oh, I've heard that title before too. That I think I heard really good things about it. Yeah, it was just such a weird thing when I like saw. I was like, ooh, I'd seen like, oh, there's already 3 issues out, so like I'll check it out. Like it's probably some weird nostalgia thing, and I was like,
Oh, I completely forgot. Here's how you'll know Sam Keith. He did the first 5 issues of a book called The Sandman.
Oh, son of a bitch.
He did like the 5 issues that no one likes that I kind of like.
of like Neil Gaiman's Sandman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That his art is wow. Okay.
Yeah, he did that issue I love about the guy who walks into the diner and then like people are slowly killed as the night goes on. And it's super like weird and gross.
I like the sound of that. I should pick up Sandman.
It is dense. Like I mean,
Sandman,
like
Yeah,
Sandman is like if you're talking about Neil Gaiman being dense, like there are whole chunks of that book, the series of that book, that there is no reason to read. They're just there for like I don't know how to describe besides like ambiance. Like
mhm.
it is such a weird book where there's just like huge chunks of it that serve no overall plot purpose.
It's one of Neil Gaiman's multiple grand opuses.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
I mean, it's like the Neil Gaiman book.
Yeah, I attempt it like every year. Like I'll go like all right, I'm gonna go with, like 4, like a volume or 2 back, and then I'll try to push forward. And it takes me like every year I get like 1 volume more in because it's so dense. Like it is the definition of dense.
I think I probably told you guys of this at some point, but last year where I was at, no, it was this year. I was at Emerald City Comic Con and I went to the DC Vertigo panel because I basically was just like, hey, like, what are you like? What's happening with Young Animal? Like, please don't cancel it because I really love all these books. Spoiler: they canceled all the books. But for being there, they handed everyone a card that had every issue of Sandman. So I have the complete Sandman on my iPad, and at some point, I'm just gonna like sit down and read them one of these days. But
That's of like I'm like I broke my leg and I'm stuck in bed for a month book.
yeah, pretty much.
I'm just like going through like some of his art, and his art is like he's one of those artists where you're like, oh yeah, I see a picture. I'm like, oh yeah, that's him.
Oh my god, I'm on the Wikipedia page for Neil Gaiman, and he was on an episode of Arthur as himself.
Wait,
and
Arthur which the cartoon?
Arthur the Aardvark, the cartoon.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to know what this episode of Arthur that he voiced himself on.
Because I know he was last year. There was like 2 episodes of Lucifer that
during the cancellation scare.
Yeah, well, it was canceled, but they had already filmed.
Sorry to interrupt. I found Neil Gaiman in Arthur.
Oh, he looks like an Arthur character.
Yeah, he sure
Can you
does.
send a link so we can all look at it?
This one's an 8-second video.
All right, but
oh my god!
Oh my god, that's hilarious looking. I'm gonna watch the video clip.
Yeah,
Oh my god, he showed up in her falafel.
right. Right.
Oh!
Absolutely.
Oh!
I feel like the
This is
title of
so
this
good.
the
Okay.
title of this
Yeah.
episode has to be Neil Gaiman. Why are you in my falafel?
Right.
But in the show Lucifer, they had like 2 episodes they already filmed out after it got canceled for the next season. And in the second to last one, they just threw them out there because whatever, Neil Gaiman actually does a voiceover for the entire episode as the voice of God.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
For like basically a character, like for a TV show based on like his own book that was like a spin-off of Sandman. Which again, like that, I think I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. They have rebooted that or not rebooted, they have restarted that series, and Neil Gaiman is writing 2 of the books in that series, and it is so far been very good. I started reading House of Whispers, which is kind of that's not one of the ones that Gaiman is writing, but it has to do with like kind of voodoo gods,
Yeah.
and it is real fucking weird. There's like an entire page where like a character is describing how things are more delicious when you cause them pain, and is like preparing a crawfish that's alive to eat.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, it's just like one of those like but I think there's like 5 books in that like universe. They're calling it the Sandman universe. And so if you don't want to go back and read the old stuff, like the new stuff is pretty easy to pick up right now because there's only like 4 issues in.
Okay.
Well, I, on the other hand, am trying to pick up the alt stuff and trying to collect all of Hellblazer.
Oh yeah, I forgot you said that you had picked that up. Yeah. Hellblazer is awesome. But again, it's another one of those like that, and for you not knowing, that is the original book that John Constantine is from.
No.
Okay. Thank
He
you.
first appeared in Swamp Thing.
Yes, yeah. But I mean like that's his first solo book.
And if
Isn't
you
that
want
the
to hear,
one where he like ages as the comic gets older?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard of this where he gets like to be an old man because the comic's like 20 years old or something.
made it to 300 issues.
Jesus. 300 issues.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive. I guess like that's like Sonic numbers.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to get a lot more laugh out of you guys.
I'm not like a big Sonic person.
I was like, oh wow,
Look,
I guess I'm just more
I
bewildered.
just
at
want
that.
you to know, like, it's one of those jokes I couldn't laugh about, but I want you to know I thought that was so fucking clever.
More clever than funny.
Oh, okay, you don't have to be condescending about it.
I'm not. That's just my voice. I swear to God, I just sound this way. I
he's not,
really
he's
did
not
like that.
condescending. He's not condescending. He's just Canadian.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh shit.
All right. Was there anything anybody else wanted to talk about before moving on to what we are planning to read next week?
I kind of want to talk about a couple news stuff that happened over this week.
Perfect.
So Archie Comics announced that they're going to be doing a Sabrina the Teenage Witch comic, done by Kelly Thompson and Veronica Fish.
I did hear about this.
Ooh.
So this is going to not be. What was the current book that the TV show is based on?
It's not set in Chilling Tales.
Yes, it is. It's a new universe. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. It's a lighter book.
It's not the new universe. It's basically just set in the Archie universe, which Sabrina is already in the Archie universe.
Yeah.
It's basically for them to kind of like make an announcement of like, oh, this is a book for a TV show that just came out, but it's not the same thing as a TV show. So younger people that may want to read it, it's not as dark and gloomy. Because I've been teaching this week, and I actually was talking a bunch of like Riverdale's huge. I've been teaching again in middle school, and a bunch of the kids watched Sabrina, and they did not like it because they thought it was too dark.
I mean that's like fair, but like I also just like am not like I think that like they're trying to get like to 2 different audiences.
Oh
And I
yeah,
think
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this new book is to younger.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, when you were like talking about like, oh, they might do a Riverdale Sabrina crossover. I'm like, I hope they don't, because they're like trying to get 2 completely different tones here.
Season 3 of Riverdale is really dark and screwed up so far.
Yeah, I like saw something about that, and I was just like, yeah, I'm glad I don't watch that show. Because I mean, look, I like Afterlife with Archie, and I like Chilling Tales of Sabrina. Like, I haven't watched the show for it yet, though. But like, I like the comic. I like Dark Archie, but like Riverdale just seems to exist in a Dark Archie world that I'm just like, it's just like none of the characters at least act like the characters. So it's
Oh
just
no, it's very much I don't know if we talked about this last time or if this was another show. Riverdale is just the character names and then kind of some of the tropes that they do, and then nothing else. It gets its own thing.
The thing that I just find bonkers, especially after the last season, is that when season 1 first came out, they were doing. I was watching the Comic-Con panel, and they were talking about it like they wanted Greg Berlanti to be involved because they wanted to get a coming of age thing. And like, you literally had a mobster, or you have a mobster on the show.
Yes, that would be Mark Consuelos' character. I do have to say, for this new season, it's kind of getting what it is a little bit better, if you know what I mean.
It's hitting its stride, that's for sure.
Yeah, because they literally do an episode. I really do like the season 3. It is so weird and kind of... Season 1 is good. Season 2 is a slog at times. Season 3 has been really wonky. Like, it's close to Stranger Things at times. Like, it's much more... what's the HBO
Well, season
show?
1 was like Twin Peaks.
So we can stop talking about Archie or not Archie, but Riverdale. What was some of the other news things you were talking about?
A book I'm super excited about got announced this week. The Female Furies from DC Comics. It's a new 6-issue miniseries by Cecil Castelletti.
Is this the follow-up to Mr. Miracle?
So I don't know if it's a follow-up or not because I haven't finished Mr. Miracle or not.
Oh, I read the last issue yesterday.
Yeah, so
I need to ask you a question, Lou. Was there any Dr. Manhattan shenanigans?
No.
Good.
So,
but it did end in a way where I'm like,
him,
I don't know what is going on.
Keep him the fuck away from all my DC shit.
Yeah, it ended in a way we can talk about next week after a couple of you guys read it.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about that book specifically and like discuss it because I don't know what happened.
Okay, so Female Furies is a new 6-issue miniseries from Cecil Castelletti, who wrote Shade the Changing Girl, Shade the Changing Woman, book I really loved that got canceled, and Adriana Mello, who is currently doing the art for Plastic Man. And it's basically about Big Barda and the Female Furies. I assume Granny Goodness will be involved in some way, but I like a lot about the Fourth World stuff. The Female Furies,
me too.
The Female Furies are super fucking rad.
What's is it Lashina?
So the members, off the top of my head, is Stompa, Mad Harriet, Barda, Lashina, and Bernadette. Bernadette, yeah.
Which one is the crazy, almost like creeper version one?
That's Mad Harriet.
She's kooky. Lashina has always been my favorite because she was the first non-human character. I was like having some feelings here, and she showed up on Justice League cartoon at one point. Yeah,
Lashina's cool. Like her costume is really cool, and then like the stuff with like her and Jonah Hex is just like so good.
I'm trying to find a picture to share for everybody.
But like, yeah, like all the character designs for the Female Furies are super good. I like kind of hope they maybe introduce some like other characters into it. But for the most part, like,
I like that.
Yeah, she's not even like kidding. She's a dominatrix character.
Yeah,
that's fair.
No, like, yeah,
I can tell.
That is what she is. Like, there's nothing else.
And it's funny because, like, basically, like, all of the women and the Female Furies, it's like, if you look at their names, it's like, oh, like, what do they do? What does Stompa do? Oh, she, like, stomps the ground and she can, like, create earthquakes because she's so strong. What does Mad Harriet do? Oh, she's fucking crazy. What does
she's
Lashina
literally
do?
the creeper.
She lashes you. It's like, but yeah, it's like, all of them have them great Jack Kirby outfits. Like, I'm super excited for it. There's a DC Superhero Girls version of Lashina, I guess. Now I'm like looking up like Google image searches.
Yeah, I'm trying to find one of like the Furies that gives us like a whole group of them.
That's weird.
God, are the Female Furies in DC Superhero Girls? Because that'd be wild. That'd be super wild. okay, but yeah, that book comes out in January. I'm super excited
I
for
saw
it.
that picture too.
The next book that was announced was that the new creative team for Daredevil was announced for February. It's going to be Chip Zdarsky and Marco
Chichetto.
Chichetto. Chip Zdarsky, great artist for Sex Criminals, writer of Howard the Duck, writer of Spectacular Spider-Man. He also was announced to do Invaders in January, which is cool. I'm not super excited to read the Invaders, but Chip Zdarsky is I think like one of the
Rising
better
Stars.
writer. Yeah, like it's like if you're gonna like, it's like
I love his art.
It's like my number one person right now in comics is Kelly Thompson. A good number two is Chip Zdarsky. And Marco
Didn't he
Cheletta.
do, a Hawkeye run, or am I mixing him up with someone else?
He did not. You're thinking of Kelly Thompson.
Okay.
Or Matt Fraction.
Matt Fraction. That's I'm thinking of Fraction.
Or Jeff Lemire.
Yeah, because I read the whole
his
Fraction
run's
run of
not that
Hawkeye.
But Mark Chichetto is pretty good. Like he did like the Greg Rucka Punisher stuff, which is I think super underrated. So like that book would be cool. I have like a bunch of the trades for the Charles Soule Daredevil I just been buying, but I haven't been reading. So at some point I'm gonna like sit down and read them. I've heard they're good. And I mean, Daredevil is like one of those comic book characters that has just had a legacy of writers from like Ann Nocenti to Frank Miller to Bendis to Ed Brubaker to
Smith.
Didn't Wade do a good
Mark
run on
Wade.
him?
Yeah, Mark Wade to Charles Soule.
Well,
to,
he's Marvel's Batman, so he gets a lot of the great writers.
Yeah, and also like Andy Diggle, but you know, there's a reason why I didn't bring up his run because we don't talk about Shadow whatever.
Shadowlands.
Shadowland. That book sucks. We don't talk about that book. And the last piece of news I want to talk about is that Mark Russell, who along with Kelly Thompson and Chip Zdarsky, one of my favorite writers in comics, he also wrote Prez and the Flintstones, and recently
I miss Prez so fucking much.
And recently Snaggletooth Exit Stage Left. He was announced to be writing the new ongoing for Red Sonja for Dynamite.
Ooh. See, that is a character, because for some reason, I love the Conan universe. I would totally dig on a Red Sonja book if it was well written.
I mean, like, Gail Simone, like, wrote Red Sonja for about 2 years, and that book was, like, pretty good. And I've heard, like, good things about, like, the Amy Chu run.
It's a wonky character. Like, I can get why even a great writer would have issues with her. Same with Conan, like it's wonky.
I mean the thing about it is it's you know, Red Sonja kind of has like the problem I think with like Conan where it's like, you know, it's like you got the one story like, oh my god, this art for the Furies in this last panel is so bad. Who did
the last one I sent?
The Michael Turner art? This is bad.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous. This isn't one I have read because the last time
Bernadette like looks like a young woman. Like I don't understand.
Oh yeah, because she's blonde, right?
Yeah, she's like a. Oh, is okay. Oh, I think that's Supergirl. I think this is.
Yes,
like,
I think this is the Super. Yeah, I think you're right. This is when Supergirl joined the Furies.
I was gonna say like because Bernadette is like kind of. I don't want to say frumpy, but like she's like the mother of the group.
Yeah, she's definitely. I'll send another. There's like another really cool image I found that's. Looks interesting. I like the art.
Can I quickly say that I'm happy that they're letting Marco Chichetto out of the Star Wars hell he's been trapped in?
Dude, being stuck in a Star Wars hell is probably not bad because you make a bunch of money there.
I mean, he did. Well,
Poor idiots like me just keep buying it.
There are good Star Wars books.
No, I mean, he had to do the very shitty Obi-Wan and Anakin mini-series.
Oh yeah, that was garbage.
I heard that like was surprisingly not as bad as people thought it was going to be.
I did not read it, so like I don't know specifically.
I didn't read it, but
the only Marvel Star Wars books I read was the Vader, and I read some of Dr. Aphra. That was it. Because I was so annoyed because I love the Dark Horse books so much.
Dr. Aphra's pretty tight.
Yeah,
The whole thing was pretty cool.
I want to read that at some point. Yeah, but yeah, that was pretty much all the news for the week. The last little thing I want to say about like the female Furies, by the way, because like this last piece of art that you put up is from Mr. Miracle, one of the variants, is like I love that issue where
is it when
Barda,
when they're in the waiting room?
Yeah, Barda is giving birth, and they're all in the waiting room, and Bernadette like hands like Mr. Miracle like this like dagger, and she says like something about like, oh, you know, like one day we'll use this like unbreakable dagger to kill you one day, and he's like, yeah, thanks a lot.
It is. I want I want all of you guys to finish that series because I could spend a whole episode just talking about that book because it would just be meaning like, wait, what happened? Because I don't know what happened. Like, it's such a.
I know the perfect person for you to talk to about that. About the whole Mr. Miracle series.
My dad.
No, Teo.
Okay, yeah, because it's such a like everything. It's the unreliable narrator is the problem with the book. So it's like, wait, what's real? What's not real? Or is it none of it real? Or is all of it real? Or is some of this
that's
real?
That's the point. It's supposed to confuse you and be a mindfuck.
I have not done enough drugs when I read it to know that.
So now on to what we're going to be reading?
Yes. For me, it's easy. I'll just be reading my couple of DC books. And then, once again, I will try to read Daredevil. And then, I have no idea. I'm going to try to read some of the Power Ranger stuff. Because I've been digging that stuff when I've seen it.
Go Power Rangers!
Yeah, I have Volume 1 I got from a guy I know at Boom Studios. Like, he gifted it to me, and I just have not read it yet. So
I've watched some videos on the Shattered Grid and loved, like, the concepts.
If you read Volume 1, I will also try to read Volume 1 by next week.
Okay, that's a deal. Anybody else want to go?
I picked up West Coast Avengers #4 by Kelly Thompson, Stefano Caselli. Like I think the book is super fun so far. It's kind of like a little New Warriors-y in that it's like a people following them and kind of recording them for like a TV show, like docu kind of thing. But the team I think is super fun. It's Hawkeye and Hawkeye, so Kate Bishop and Clint Barton and Miss America Chavez and Kate Bishop's boyfriend and Quentin Quire and Gwenpool and Pizza Dog. So like the team is like super cool. You know, it's still going on pretty well, and I'm kind of like really glad to see Stefano Caselli on a book again because I really liked his stuff on Secret Warriors, and I want to say he was on FF for a little bit, and then he like kind of bopped around some rando books, but it's like kind of cool to see him again. I also picked up Uncanny X-Men #2 by Thompson, Rosenberg, Brenzen. RB Silva is doing the art for this issue, I guess. So we'll see like if Disassembled Part 2 is a little bit better than Part 1.
Okay. I'm going to read because I mentioned earlier here I just picked up the Alien book and Firefly, so I'll get those read, and then I'm going to hopefully read the entire second.
Let me know how Firefly is because, you know.
I love me. I want to get back in the verse. You know what I'm saying? So
I love me some Nathan Fillion.
It's written by Greg Pak, who's a fellow Long Islander.
Ooh. All right. Well, that Long Island is very far away from me, but Nathan Fillion is a fellow Canadian boy, so I can respect that.
I even watched, I can't remember what it's called. It's like American Housewife. He did an episode that is actually, I would recommend people seeing. He was hilarious on it.
Okay.
And he was also, if you've never seen Santa Clarita Diet, he is really funny in that show as well. He's only in a couple of episodes. Into that.
I'm sorry. I've tried a few times.
You just have to do it because it's got goddamn Timothy Olyphant.
I know. I love Timothy Olyphant. But
he's so good in it.
Fan?
Yes, I am an Oli fan.
An Olifan. Yeah, there's no better pun.
Was he the one that was James Bond, or am I thinking of another?
No, he was Hitman, the first one.
He is also Raylan Givens on Justified.
Yes, that's probably his big show is Justified.
Which is Justified is definitely where people will know him.
He's a good actor, and it's a zombie show with it's him, Drew Barrymore, and the neighbor is the waitress from Always Sunny.
Mhm.
And there is like an insane amount of cameos in the show. Like Andy Richter is their boss. Patton Oswalt's in an episode, named Fillion's in like a ton of episodes.
Oh, he was in Rango.
That's the pull you get, Rango.
The Nathan Fillion,
Dude, you'd be surprised.
To the
Like,
elephant.
yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. The majority of the shit I watch is cartoons, so.
No,
Like,
hey man, I'm on the same side as you. I watch a lot of cartoons at this point, more than I watch anything with actual people in it.
Like,
But Rango.
I don't think I've ever seen Rango.
Oh, dude.
You should check out Rango. Actually, it's pretty goddamn good.
Rango is great. It's also like the best movie from that guy.
Is that a DreamWorks movie? Because it's not Disney.
It's a Paramount Pictures like Nickelodeon film.
Oh, maybe I will force Allan and Gary to watch that for the cartoon show.
Directed by Gore Verbinski. It's like maybe as good as The Curse of Black Pearl, but it's like easily like one of the best movies he's done.
Yeah, easily. It's a lot of fun, and it also looks gorgeous.
You know, I would use my veto, but I already used it on Big Mouth.
Yeah, Allan refuses to watch Big Mouth.
Hey, I'm on the same side as Allan. It doesn't look funny.
Big Mouth is not bad. Like, I wouldn't force anyone to watch it. Like, I wouldn't probably recommend it to a lot of people. But like, seasons 1 and 2 of Big Mouth, like, I've kind of like put on TV, and like, I'll just like kind of start watching it, and like, I end up just like sitting through the entire season, and like, I don't know why. Like, I don't think it's good sex humor, but there's just like kind of something about it that like kind of makes me want to keep on watching it.
Yeah.
I would much rather it's not a show I would die on the hill of to try and defend. Like, and I don't even think it's like within the top 5 like Netflix animated shows.
No, because I think one of our earlier episodes we did was Disenchanted, and I had mixed feelings.
Sucks.
No, and when you get to the last 2 or 3 episodes, it turns itself into something amazing.
You gotta wait for that build.
Nope, I super disagree. I watched all episodes of that show, and I was like...
It got renewed, so I cannot wait for season 2.
Of course it got renewed, because it ends on a giant cliffhanger.
Yes, which is why, but the cliffhanger was like, oh my god, I want to see more. I do agree, like, it is real slow. It is an entire season of world building, and it is nothing else like Groening has ever done before. So if you like Groening's other stuff, it is very different.
It's better than The Simpsons.
Yeah.
He hasn't worked on The Simpsons in years.
Yeah,
like a decade.
I mean, like, sure, like, easy pot shot. Like, it's probably comparable to, like, modern day Simpsons. But, like, you know, like, there were, like, people who were just like, well, you know, if you look at Futurama, like, the first season of Futurama is not all that great. I'm like...
It's a completely different show. It is a single narrative show as opposed to both Simpsons and Futurama, which are individual episodes, with Futurama having a little bit more, like, carrying over a season story arc. But this is like, it's one cohesive story.
But like, season 1 had like a lot of really great episodes still. Like, it had Whalers on the Moon. It had that episode.
That's the first episode, isn't it?
That's the second episode. Like, it had like the episode where they go to the killer robot planet. It had like a lot of really cool, fun stuff.
Yeah. Like, but it's a different type of show. Like this,
like Disenchantment though is like such a like, it's such a fucking mess, because it's like the idea of that show is that you have like these 3 core characters. It's like you have Bean, who's like this dysfunctional, like, rowdy princess, and like you have like this Eric Andre character who's like supposed to corrupt her. But the idea that she's already corrupted and already kind of like a worthless princess,
doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't, like, his job is already done. Like, he has no purpose within the story of the show. And then the third person, Elfo, is the single worst character that Matt Groening has ever created. And I'm talking about all 3 shows. There is not a worse character than Elfo. He sucks. He's the fucking dirt worst.
He is the, like, total straight man punching bag character ever invented. Like it,
Except for he's gross and lame and weird and awful.
Okay. maybe we should have an episode where we bring you onto the comic show to attack, and then somebody has to defend. Like we take it to court.
Yeah,
you
what-
got. There needs to be a defense.
All right.
Except for like the defense would have to bring to court a worse character than Alpha.
Okay,
Like,
so maybe we'll
and
have
that-
to set this up as a crossover, and we'll have to get a third-party judge.
It's like pick out like a single character within Simpsons and Futurama who's worse than Elfo.
Milton?
Who's Milton?
Oh wait, what's Bart's friend's name? Millhouse.
Millhouse?
Whoa!
Millhouse is a saint.
Whoa!
No, fuck Millhouse. He's a dude.
Come back. Dude, you had me. I was your friend for a minute there, then you brought Millhouse and you dragged his name through the dirt. What are you doing, man? What's going on, man?
I think Lou just curbed
Is everything okay?
Millhouse's head.
Are you talking about Radioactive Boy? How dare you?
No, I hate that character.
I fucking love Millhouse. One of my favorite things to say is everything's turning up Millhouse when my life is falling apart.
Everything's coming up, Millhouse.
All right, I'm gonna leave
All
this
right.
call and kill myself.
Yeah, I feel
All
like
right.
we can close it out.
Oh wait,
Okay.
no,
Okay, so where can we find everyone at?
wait, I didn't say what I was gonna read
Okay.
yet. God damn it.
So, what are you reading, Alan?
Archie, issue number 700.
Oh, yeah, let me know how you think about that, because I almost picked it up today.
And I'm gonna try to get back in Just League Dark because the cover for issue 5 is a dragon.
Oh, I've been loving Justice League Dark, so if you pick it up, let me know.
basically Detective Chimp holding a sword, ready to attack a fucking dragon.
Dude, the Justice League Dark's new team is legit. And I love Magic Wonder Woman.
Also, just something I highly recommend: Black Hammer, Age of Doom. And that's it for me.
All right. The only other thing I will say is that I'm contemplating trying to start reading Savage Dragon just to annoy people from the beginning. But
Well, there's like 280 some issues, so
yeah, I just want to
joke's
get to
on
the
you.
I just want to get to the point when his son has sex with his adopted sister and his girlfriend and his ex-girlfriend, and he gets
Like,
them
people-
all pregnant.
Like, yeah, okay, like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, I mean, it could just be me, because, like, I read a bunch of erotic comics for work all day, but, like, I see, like, people sharing, like, that Savage Dragon sex scene shit, and they don't even look sexy.
Oh
It
no,
looks-
it's terrible.
it-
It's just ridiculous. There's 2 sex scenes. There's probably the one you're getting sent is the 3-way he has with his adopted sister and his girlfriend wife. I don't know what she is. But then later on they have a 4th person in there who's his ex-girlfriend, and he knocks them all up. And this is Savage Dragon's technically his son.
What?
Yeah. Which, if you don't remember, they turned Savage Dragon into a Saturday morning cartoon at some point.
What?
Yep, because
And they also went to Canada because fuck you, Donald Trump.
well, so going back to like the Savage Dragon cartoon, Image like cut a deal with like
I think it was Fox.
Fox, and they had a Wildcat show that like never aired.
Yes. There was a Wildcat show, it was Savage Dragon. I think there was a 3rd.
But like they're like the Wildcat show never aired though, or like something
No.
something along those lines never aired. Like there's like
No, I think Wildcats aired because I remember seeing Grifter on TV. I think it was a 3rd thing.
I know Pan Pizza, who does like Rebel Taxi, just did like a thing recently about it. About like it was like let me like try and find the video. It was like something along the lines of like X number of like anime cartoons that like never hit the air, or like something like that.
Oh, yeah, I know. For the cartoon show, there's like a bunch. At some point, I'm going to make these guys watch the Spawn HBO show because I own the box set.
Oh, nice.
Why I don't have any objections to that because I also love Spawn to HBO show.
The worst part of that show is that it ends on a cliffhanger and they get canceled.
And it never got resolved.
All right, let's do quick plugs before we run away because I'm already getting yelled at. Connor, you want to start us off?
Yeah, you got it. You can find me at Twitter at System Monitor 1. I tweet. Instagram at maybe Connor. I photo. You can find me writing occasionally at the Lost Horror Game. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have the review for Red Dead Redemption 2 coming up, and then I'll have another piece on Thursday, Friday about Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Nice.
Yes.
The review
and
that he promised to have up last week.
yes. Welcome
Called
to my
out.
life of nightmares.
Jonathan?
Before I do that pitch, the Rebel Taxi video I was thinking of is called Top 10 Lost or Banned Superhero Cartoons.
Send that to me because that will be a fun thing for the other show, which you could always appear on.
I hope so because I watch a lot of cartoons. But the one I was thinking of wasn't Wildcats; it was Youngblood.
Oh, yes.
That I'm not surprised about.
I do feel like there was a Wildcat show, though.
There was.
Yes, okay, because I remember seeing that because I was a little nerd child.
Also, I think it's on YouTube as well.
Everything is.
But yeah, also that Rebel Taxi video also talks about Scud the Disposable Assassin. So
Nice.
yeah, Rebel Taxi, Pan Pizza, super great like animation podcasts and like channels. So that's also one of my plugs. Go check that guy out. Also, you can find me at John_FN_Seiler SEILER on Twitter and Instagram under the same handle. There you go.
I can go next, and Allan, you can close us out. And I'm Lou A. Gonzalez on Twitter and Instagram. I barely tweet on Instagram, so pictures of my dog and some beer. And I also write for Los Haro. I am hopefully going to write something once this Batman versus the Max is finished. You can also check out my older article on how DC is destroying the Robins. And I'm also on the Phantom Zone all the time. And then me and Allan we have been doing a podcast where we are rewatching Smallville, and then we will have a cartoon show that we've talked about should be coming out around the same time as the show. So it should be out. Allan?
You can find me on Twitter at TheAllanMuir. You can find me on Instagram at ComicsBoy. You can find my quick hit Call of Cthulhu review, where I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Lazaro.
Wow. 4 out of 5.
PowerPress.com. Yes,
Hey, I was on that episode.
Yeah. Come at me, bro.
Okay. I feel like we should have a whole podcast like what we did earlier this year, where we talk about a game from two perspectives: somebody who really enjoyed it and somebody who had problems with it. Not saying I didn't enjoy it, because I did enjoy it, but I have a lot of problems with the gameplay and the animation and the textures.
I think this opened up between the two things we talked about tonight. We maybe have another podcast idea in here.
Yeah, maybe 2.
Well, no,
Jeez.
This could be a bonus episode of Lazaro Games podcast. So I'll talk. We'll need to find someone to mediate.
Yeah,
can
we
mediate.
will. We'll need to find a middle.
I haven't played it yet, so it could be you guys pitching me to play this game.
Well, regardless, I'm going to pitch you to play the game. It's just I'm going to be very honest about what's wrong with said game.
All right, we can talk about it once we are done. What else do you have, Al?
Actually, I was gonna plug the Lazaro Games Theme Week, which is this week, but it's not. This is gonna come out months after.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
I have no idea when these are coming out. So
one day in the future when this launches.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure we talked about Stanley last episode.
We did talk about Stanley
Okay.
last episode. Yeah.
Did you have any more plugs, Al?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of And Now Comics, and check us out next time. That's been Comics.
Oh, this is silly.
I was quite enjoying it, actually.
Neil Gaiman? What are you doing in my falafel?